I'd like to start with a quote from one of my favorite presidents, Ronald Reagan. He once said that the trouble with liberals is that not that they're ignorant, they just know so much that isn't so. And I'm afraid that applies to my colleague from the 5th District in regards to these social studies standards. When it comes to those social studies standards, we had a nice little discussion. Back in 2015, there was a submittal to the State Board of Education for some standards. I got together with about 17 other legislators and who signed a letter that had about 15 different issues with those standards because they were not politically neutral, they were not accurate. For example, they would sit there and promote Islam to the exclusion of any other religion. They would promote LGBT rights to the exclusion of religious conscience. They would promote progressive policies to the exclusion of conservative policies. I didn't think that was right. I didn't propose to go off and eliminate discussion of Islam, like he suggests. I didn't promote the elimination of discussion of any of those topics. All I wanted to do was make sure that we had a balanced discussion of both of those topics. We had a balanced discussion perspective. After all, this is going into the education of our students. So a lot of the stuff that he's promoting is frankly just not true. Now, there's a lot of stuff that was explicitly added in some of the standards before that was moved as reference. That wasn't because we didn't want teachers to go off and teach it. It's because it fell into a detail level that was not the same as all the standards. So we can say that we eliminated references to KKK and all that other stuff that's out there, but you know what? When we actually got into the discussions, we found out that whenever we wanted to talk about some of these different issues here, we actually had an adult conversation on it with the people that were involved in these focus groups. We didn't go around calling people names like has been the custom of the senator from the 5th District here. He seems to be making a habit of that. Well, I think we're called to a higher calling here as part of the Senate. We're called to have an adult conversation. And that's what we had during this focus group. We had people from very diverse political ideologies coming together under the basic objective of making sure that our social studies standards for the next generation of leaders for this state were going to be politically neutral and accurate. I believe we achieved that. Are these the standards that I would have written from scratch? Heck no. But you know what? We had a lot of discussions where we had people make compromise across the board, and we came up with something that I was happy to say is something that was politically neutral and accurate. A lot of the people dealing on the complete opposite side of the worldview from me appreciated the discussions because we did have an adult conversation. I wish that adult conversation would extend here to the Senate floor. I really do. Now, as we go forward and to the public comment period for these social studies standards, a lot of people trying to politicize this. We have news outlets that are trying to politicize it. We need to face the fact that there is a culture war that's going on. And unfortunately, it's our schools that are on the front line. There are some people that don't want to hear the other side of the discussion. They don't want to hear about conservative policies. Well, these standards actually make sure that we don't exclude any of the other voices that are out there. We don't exclude these sensitive topics around racism. We don't exclude the sensitive topics around LGBT rights. What we do is we put them in context of what's going on in our society where we have a counterbalance with it. And we have other people with other perspectives that need to get heard as well. So you may try to shout down and ridicule and belittle people that are just simply trying to have a balanced discussion on it. But I, for one, am proud of the result that we had out of this focus group. It took 2 years of serious discussions. Here we've had 4 years of an attempt to have a serious discussion, and we haven't had that adult conversation from the senator from the 5th District. You should talk to some of the other people that participated in that focus group because they did have the mature discussions. We came up with something that was very well done, I believe, and it was on some very sensitive subjects. So I just want to say, for those who are curious as to what's in those standards, go look at them. Look at them in context of the standards we started with. And you be the judge whether or not we achieved the objective of being politically neutral or accurate. I believe we achieved that goal. I'd like my remarks added to the journal. Thank you.